Hey everyone, welcome to Salisbury. I want to know how many of you use the internet. So if you have access to the internet, go ahead and raise your hands for me. Okay, so all of you. All right, now how many of you have a Facebook account? That's actually more than the number of people on my friends list. Okay, now how many of you live on the planet Earth? Thank God there's no aliens here today. All right, as of 2013, there are 7.125 billion people on the planet Earth. And this translates to about 125 people for every 1 square mile of land. And that translation translates to about 1 person for every 225,000 square feet, or 1 person for every 5 acres. Now, judging off this graph from Google, and since we know that population growth is exponential, a world population of 10 billion people by the year 2030 is not too far-fetched. It may not seem too dramatic, but in reality, it is. By the year 2030, every person on Earth will occupy about 3.5 acres of land. Now, as of the year 2013, almost 40% of the world's population is connected to the internet. And considering that the world of the technology is growing at a high rate, this number can easily jump to about 50 or 60% by the year 2030. That's 5.5 billion people that have access to the internet. That's pretty cool if you ask me. Now, this graph, according to Ben Foster in April 2014, there were 1.3 billion people connected to Facebook. That's about 18% of the world's population, and almost half of the number of the people that are connected to the internet. Now, using this graph, we can see that the Facebook population more than doubled in the past 3 years. Now, if the Facebook population continued to double every 3 years, we'd have over 40 billion people on Facebook by the year 2030. Now, since we're only predicting there to be about 10 billion people existing in the world during that year, we know that's not possible. But even if the Facebook population only doubles twice in the next 15 years, we'd still have a Facebook population of about 5 billion people. Here's a closer look at this graph. As you can see, in February 2011, we only had about 650 million people on Facebook. And in only 3 years, this number jumped to about 1.2 billion people. Now, if we go back to our chart of the number of internet users, this means that nearly all of the people in the world that are connected to the internet will also be connected to Facebook by the year 2030. And since it's unlikely for children under the age of 10 to have a Facebook account, we can go ahead and assume that everyone that has the internet will also have a Facebook account. Now to go back to our world population density charts, this will mean that in every square mile, over half of those people will have Facebook. And considering the fact that if you are connected to the internet, everyone else that lives in the vicinity of you will also be connected to the internet, and therefore also have a Facebook account. So basically, if you don't live in a third world country, you'd be able to look up any Joe Schmo in your town by the year 2030. But here's the catch. While we all might think Facebook is great and all, we're using it wrong. There are too many people that are caught up in everyone else's business and care way too much about what other people have to say. They forget to use social media for its actual purpose. We have this great tool that allows us to connect with old friends, distant relatives, and business connections in other countries. But while some people may be using this tool to its full potential, most of us are not. And if you don't believe me, well, I've compiled a list of the 6 different types of people that are on Facebook. Now, if you don't fall under any of these categories, then good on you because you're doing it right. The first is the techie. These are the people that work on computers all day, and they like to write codes on Facebook just to try to get a rise out of their other nerdy friends. The next is the reply forward master. These are the people, like my grandfather, who like to forward all of those chain mails onto their Facebook account to share with their other older friends. The next is a disgruntled citizen. These are the people that always have something to say about anything that goes wrong. The next is the personal cheerleader. These are the people that always have something nice to say about whatever goes on, even if they don't really care about you. Next, the insensitive commenter. In this instance, this Facebook post shows how this guy lost his cat to a computer fan. And the commenter describes, "LOL, dude, I saw you at the grocery store the other day." Thanks for that. That's great. And finally, the relationship monitor. These are the people that always get up in other people's business about their relationships. Now, to me, it seems like the majority of us just use Facebook to see how everyone else is doing. But how often do its users actually use the tool to talk to their long-lost friends? And how often do they use to check to see if their ex-boyfriend or girlfriend just updated their status? Or to check to see if your rival soccer mom just posted another picture of their little Johnny? Or what party you weren't invited to? What if I told you that there was a solution to your woes of Facebook? Quote, what if we stop comparing and start connecting? Unquote. What if we just stop comparing ourselves to all of the people that we could care less about and start using Facebook to its full potential? What if we actually use it to share more about ourselves rather than worrying about what other people have to say? What if we stop trying to get feedback from everyone? What if we stop trying to use social media to feel like we're better than everyone else? What we need to do is make this change immediately, because if we don't, my future kids, your future kids, and your future grandkids are going to end up being just like me and you and everyone else in this room, caring more and more about what other people have to say. By the year 2030, we'll have access to an inconceivable amount of knowledge. But what use is all of that information if we don't know how to take advantage of it? Quote, we struggle with insecurity because we compare behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel, unquote. If you think about it, no one really shares what is actually happening in their lives on Facebook. While someone might be posting a picture of their kid going to kindergarten, they may also be jobless and struggling to pay the bills. And the problem with most people is that they compare their everyday lives, like I just suggested, with the highlights that their friends post on Facebook, making them feel insecure about themselves. But the reality is that while your Facebook friend is posting all about their highlight reels, they too have their own struggles. Now, the solution is not to dwell on everyone else's highlight reel, but rather to be proud of our own. The solution is to be proud of ourselves, and the solution is to redefine the realities of social media. Thank you.